So in the finale, Claire is brutally raped by Lionel Brown and his men. And, obviously it's a harrowing ordeal and Jamie eventually kills them. But I wonder how you think this changes Jamie, that experience.
Well, it's such a powerful and difficult subject. And I think, we all wanted to get it right. I think the times have changed. I think the show has changed. Jamie gets raped in season 1 and it was very graphic. Now, I don't know if I would have done that now, but it is what it is. And I think, at that time, we felt it was the right thing to do. And I think this time, I think very cleverly, the writers have done something different. I think it's a really emotional, very hard to watch episode, but it's stylized. And I think we were very involved in that, myself and Caitriona. We went back and forth a lot with the director, who was fantastic, Jamie Payne, and the writers, Tony, who was just magnificent. And we really tried to find the right tone to it, and make it less about the brutality and more about Claire trying to find some comfort and escapism in her mind during this trauma. And she of course goes back to Jamie and tries to imagine a sort of a world with him. Yeah, for Jamie, it changes a lot. He's thrown into action and we see hopefully a scary side of him, a side that is unrestrained rage. He will do anything for her, of course. And I think he does that. He has this great line where he basically says, kill them all. And he just doesn't care. He lays waste to them and seeks revenge on them all. But afterwards, yeah, I think there's a lot of healing to be done. And certainly by the end of the season, Claire isn't healed. She's fine and she's going to be okay. But I think the whole family have been affected by so many of these occurrences throughout the season. The loss of Murtagh, what happens to Claire, Stephen Bonnet. There's just so many things. They're being attacked on every side. And yet still this war is coming and they're going to have to face it. But they are fractured. They're a fractured family. And the only way they're going to get through it is by sticking together.
Claire went through a really harrowing experience in the finale. She's kidnapped and brutally raped by a gang of men. And the writers decided to use disassociation to tell her story. So she goes in and out of a dreamlike sequence during the attacks. And you've read the book, so I'm sure you knew this was coming. What was your approach to getting into the psychology behind that scene?
Yeah, well, we very early on, Matt came to us and said that they were going to pull this particular storyline from book 6 into season 5. And he talked a little about this idea that he had about not wanting to show the rape or not wanting to be kind of gratuitous about it. And that he had this idea to sort of show this disassociative state, that she would go somewhere else in her mind when it was happening. And I thought that was, first of all, a really interesting way of doing it. But without reading scripts, you always have this worry about, well, okay, but how are you going to do it? And I also really wanted to sort of protect Claire in the fact that, yes, why do we need to see another rape? But also, if you're going to do it, then we can't just gloss over it and that somehow Claire doesn't get affected. Because one of the things that I love about Claire is that everyone talks about what a strong character she is, but there's a danger in that then people sort of make that character Teflon and that, somehow, that could happen to her, but it wouldn't really stick and it wouldn't really affect her. And I thought it was really important to show that no matter how strong you are, no matter who you are, that if you go through something like this, first of all, you don't know how your body is going to react. You don't know how you're going to be able to process it. And nobody comes out of anything like this unscathed. And so I did a lot of reading about women who unfortunately had gone through situations like this, and about sort of disassociation, and about that idea that sometimes also, once you've gone through so many different stages of fight or flight, because Claire is in this ordeal for such a long time, that when the actual fact was happening, that her body and she just shut down. And so she goes somewhere else to protect herself. And that's the one thing that where we went over successive scripts, because I didn't want it to be that she goes into this other place and that we sort of get lost in this 60s vignette and we forget that actually the reason that we're there is because something really horrific is happening at the same time. And so we sort of worked really hard about trying to sort of have these little bleed-ins of, you know, she's trying to construct this safe place for herself, but, you know, it's not perfect. You know, she can't quite block everything out, and that you tend to get these moments where the sort of horror of what's happening bleeds in again and again. And, you know, we also changed what happens in the book. You know, I think book readers will see what they think, but, you know, the post ordeal and the post rape is very differently handled in the book. And for me personally, when, again, it's that thing, if you can read something and you can sort of patch over the time constraints, or you can patch over sort of certain ideas, but it was very clear to me from the get-go that we couldn't film certain things that were in the book. You know, I think in the book, Jamie and Claire have this very intense sexual moment, and it just felt that was wrong, you know, just even physically for Claire, but also, you know, when you are doing 1 hour episodes, to have something like that come off the back of something where you see Claire go through this terrible ordeal, it just didn't feel appropriate. So I think we sort of tried to find another way of doing it. So you have this sort of shot where Jamie's just holding her and they're both naked. And I think that sort of shows you that no matter what happened, it hasn't completely destroyed their intimacy. And Claire's not, at least at this moment, that's, you know, it's baby steps, and she will need time, and she will need time to heal and come out of this. But that there is strength in the fact that, you know, Jamie is there for her, and he's able to understand and hold that space for her.
Well, like you said, I mean, you're working with an hour, and obviously the finale has limited time to really examine Claire's trauma after the rape. We get a sense of it, though, obviously. Do you think we're going to be seeing more of what she's grappling with in season 6?
I mean, it's definitely my intention. I think, you know, it's something we've spoken to the writers about. I don't think that you can wrap things up like that with a pretty little bow. It's something that will change her completely. I don't think any person who has gone through sort of trauma like that is ever completely whole again. You know, I think it definitely costs you something huge. And we've seen that with other characters in our show. And I think we will definitely see that going forward in season 6 with Claire.